while we do this, go to pick up McDonald's or Chick-fil-A for the kids.
Okay. That was recorded, but all's well. Yeah. Hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Lunch and Learn. My name is Robert. I'm going to be hosting again today. So, um, you know, no one, we have one person join. Thank you, VT. But we have some QR codes on the screen. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the top right is the YouTube channel that you're on. And the bottom right is the Decisions Solutions Marketplace. So it has information about our modules. It has a couple different, let's think about how they word them, but I believe they're called Decision Solutions Marketplace. They call them mini apps, I guess. They call them apps. Oh, partner solutions. So partner solutions, and we have community built projects that you can kind of implement or download. And these contain flows, rules, forms, whatever you might think a project might need, right? So forms in a data repeater for the form startup bundle, an example project using JSON XML strings. But some of these, workflow handling, errors. And for some of these bigger ones, you'll have more and more stuff. So this one has rules, workflows, forms, and dashboards. So you can learn more, but those are some options for you. Well, welcome in. So here's what we'll do. We'll make this kind of a fun one today until if other people show up. Um, VT, I got a question for you. I'm gonna unmute you because I solved it and I want to see how you would answer it just because this is fun. So if you have the ability or you're in a position to talk,
Okay.
how would you what is the quickest path? I worked up some solution that was kind of long and arduous. How would you find the closest 20th of the month? So a date time comes into a flow. It could be today's date, July 3rd, and it would output the closest 20th. So the closest 20th would be for this one would be, I guess, June 20th, because that'd been 13 days ago. Whereas if today was July 17th, I would want to output July 20th. Could you think of a quick logic for that that's not a crazy overbuild?
No. So do you need to find the number of days?
That's what I ended up doing, something like that. Yeah. I was just wondering if there was because I know you have a robust knowledge. I ended up doing something similar where, yeah, I found the 20th of this month using set date on date time. So I just ran in the date. This is just the date set as a constant so I could test it. And then I set it to the 20th. And then I did previous month, added 20 days, and then found the difference. And then I used a rule to figure out which one was closer. And this is all for extra logic. This is extra arbitrary information, but we needed to find multiple values based on that value. But that's what I ended up doing was this top section using uh, the 20th of this month and then previous month added 20 days and then output that information and compared it. I just didn't know if there was a faster way to do it that wasn't so overbuilt. I was playing around in the date stuff, but I could not figure anything out, man.
On the daytime, you have you have let me think.
Yeah.
Well, could be stupid, but you could just get the integer of the date and just subtract it from 20.
True. True.
Yeah, it's gonna be two steps, but also I'm not sure if it's a good solution, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking of a weird solution for it. It's just is kind of a random ask. Cool, man. Yeah, so if it's just you in here, I don't really have a ton. I'll kind of just bounce around so we can put some on YouTube. If you got something cool you can show me, I'll take that. It's something that's new to you, but besides that, I'm just gonna be kind of bouncing around unless somebody joins in here today. What have I been messing with?
Some cool question. How would you implement recursion in decisions?
You would know
Something
that.
that,
Yeah. Say it again. Recursion?
yeah. So for example, if you have lots of accounts and somebody is a manager and underneath that manager, like travel the kind of like a tree. So let's say I have 5 managers and then underneath I have somebody just employee and somebody from those employees are managers and have somebody underneath them. How would you travel that tree recursively in decisions?
Hmm. Let's think. How would I? I And if we're taking those accounts already exist, or are you talking about creating those accounts using a flow?
Well, I'm using accounts just for an example. The question is, how would you travel the tree? So you have like a, for example, trunk, and then you have branches and branches of those branches. How do you gather all that information?
Hmm. That is a good question. I said you almost certainly have more insights than I would, but I'm going to poke around with it. Let's think. So we can get a manager. Pick our manager, but that's just a single path out. Are there tags allowed in this? Do we have tags under accounts? No.
Well, it doesn't have to be an account. Like I said, it could be anything else. It's not specifically for an account. It's just
That was an example. Yeah.
yeah, it's more on how would you implement recursion, like recursive function on decisions.
Hmm. That is a good one. Let me think here. Uh, I mean, I'm obviously just don't have the background to speak to it articulately, so I could just I'm gonna approach this question as more of a learner, and you know more than I would thinking about it. But my first thought concept goes to like a parent-child data structure, where you have structures within a structure within a structure. Um, but I don't know the cleanest way to report on that or to get that data out without having to do so much parsing of menu drop, build data, expose properties type stuff. A clean way to deal with recursion. Yeah, I do not quite know.
Something is that most people would think of is create a flow and then use the same flow as a subflow within that
Right.
flow. But I don't know why people think about that this way, because you will not be able to exit that flow.
Because it'll continue down the wormhole. It'll never get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to use that function as a converter. If you use it as a converter, that will be like a true recursion in decisions.
And when you say converter, you're talking about like on an actual step property,
Yeah, so just like you said, for example, in
run
account,
converter flow.
uh, create like a manager account data structure and the same structure within the same structure, which will be recursive structure. And then in the main flow, you create something that will fetch child accounts and add to those and use it as a converter on fetch.
Come on, in this world. Obviously, this doesn't make much logical sense. I just grabbed a random step. But when you're saying this makes more sense than running subflows, is to run a converter and then put in your flow the logic beneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart. I didn't. I would have never thought of that. That is very smart.
Yeah, so for example, when you fetch and you use like a custom fetch as a converter, and you fetch child, and then within that you use the same fetch child, and you until you reach the end, and then you just add those as child accounts into your kind of recursive data structure.
Yeah, that's smart. That is smart. That's cool. I like that. That was informative for sure. Trying to think of what I could do here. Let's do email it. Interesting. So then inside of this, let's just go in there, create a new one, just random. So whatever I put in this current logic, whatever I put for this output data, that's what would populate. I mean, obviously this is kind of random, but however I select this output, that is what would populate the email address so that even though this is called a converter flow, I can use this to run just a normal, you know, in here I could fetch again or something based on data that goes through it. Is that like what is can you explain to me the logic of the or no, just again you're the teacher here. Oh, Smith, sorry, I didn't see you had a question. Yeah, we definitely can. We're kind of just bouncing around. I'm gonna PT, we'll come back and chat about this. When you get a chance, can you please let me know how to schedule flows and decisions and any best practices for the same? Also, if we plan to read files from S3, should I read all files or read one at a time and go through the flow? Can decisions hold all the files in memory? Yeah, decisions can hold those files in memory for sure. When you get a chance, can you let me know how to schedule flows and decisions? Smith, are you in, I'll unmute you as well. Are you in version 8 or version 9 by any chance? Do you know?
Yeah, we are on 9.
9, perfect. Okay. Yeah, so you got a couple options.
Okay.
On 9, under manage here,
Mhm.
you can have jobs and events,
Okay.
manage jobs and events, schedule jobs, and you can run a scheduled flow based on various parameters. So you can set it up to run at a certain time. Cool,
Is
cool, cool.
there a way I can do like like search the S3 bucket or something? Is that possible or not really? If there's a new file in the S3 bucket, can you do it? I think you guys helped me with the S3, so we can read from it and stuff like that. All that's great. So since that is done, is there any such capability
Is
that we could use?
is S3 a module or is it is it
No,
built in?
AWS S3 bucket.
Oh,
Sorry, I
AWS.
should have been,
Yeah.
I should have been specific.
Okay, yeah. Let's find it on here. Where are the modules? In version 8, it was up there. Where did we put these modules in 9?
Number 5 features.
Number 5 features. Let's go. feature.
on this report.
On this report, number 5 features. There we go. Ah, I already have installed. I guess we've probably done this before. Okay, cool. Let's bounce back over. Let's learn, scheduled jobs, a new scheduled flow. We'll call this S3 job. And we'll just run it. Run it every day. Why not? Just for simplicity. We'll create a. I guess I need to create the flow. There's no create flow option over here, huh? All right, so
But it would show me all the existing flows, I suppose, right?
yeah, correct. Exactly. Yeah. And they've just changed a bit between version 8 and version 9. And version 8, I believe you, and I might have missed it. There probably was an option for create new and rather than pick, but we'll call this S3 flow. All right. So I do remember Jeremy was saying that there are multiple AWS. There's built-in native AWS, and there's a part of the module. Do you know what was the name of the step you were trying to integrate as well?
We were successful. Like under S3, I think you have all those get and put files, right? That
Sure.
thing one of you guys helped us, and we are able to do that thing. My question here is when you're, is there something when you're scheduling, right? You showed me the scheduler from Manage, right? Can the scheduler like scan the S3 bucket to see if there is a file, then automatically run it without being on a like is there a process where like a queue kind of a thing, right? Like it just scans the say the S3 bucket every few minutes and does its thing. Not like it like if it's a daily schedule, it'll run only once, correct? Is there a
Right, but you could set it up. Yeah, there's not a it's based on a calendar. So there's not a
like a a continuous scanning system, like I how can I set it to read every 5 minutes or something like that? Is that a possibility or no?
yeah, time span. Let's see here. Yeah, you can run it every so often. You can run it every, however long. Keep in mind this will
Okay.
be taxing here, but you can set up to run every 5 minutes, and then inside of your logic, inside of your flow itself, I just got to remember to go back and delete that. But inside of this logic, you could probably, or inside of this flow, you could put some logic that fetches the S3 bucket and it sees if it outputs a null value, and then have a rule that if it doesn't, or it does, it would be something. And again, this is my first attempt at it. So if anybody, Greg, your team has got an opinion on it, but what I probably would do is say some type of this. I don't think I have anything in here, but you'd have to figure out how to fetch those entities. Oh, dang it. Fetch those entities. And then if you have results, you could have it run whatever you want it to run. And then if it has no results, you can just, and let's just say whatever you want it to do with those results is this step, is just a placeholder. But if you had no results, it would just go to the end path and do something along those lines, so that if you get results from your S3, you can run logic, and if you don't, you can just end the scheduled job. But keep in mind that if you are running something every 5 minutes, every 30 seconds, whatever, it will be taxing on your server and on your instance. It's not like catastrophic, but because people do it all the time. I mean, we've had people that run scheduled jobs every minute, 24 hours a day. But just be aware that is, your machine is running, your server is running every 5 minutes or minute or however you have it set up.
Okay. So now you're suggesting that I use something called these fetch entities, right? So that can, because that will have something like this. The question I also had was, what can I do what do you suggest? Is it better that I fetch suppose there are 10 files, and at this stage, we don't know how big the files are. I mean, it can come in different sizes. It can be 10 one day, it can be 15 one day.
Yeah.
So do you think we should just fetch one file at a time, going by name, and then moving it to another archive folder in S3, or fetch everything together and this process runs? What do you suggest? Like, what is the most efficient way?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. And just to be honest, I don't necessarily have the best insight on that one. I can definitely ask someone on our architecture or support team, and they would have more insight to that. My initial impression is going to be that you're going to have to look at it from what is more taxing, to run all 10, 15 at a time, or
Mm-hmm.
to run one at a time and then process it 15 consecutive times. My initial guess is that just processing all 10 to 15 and letting it run with less steps is going to be less taxing than trying to pull all 15 and then iterate through them and do individual tasks 15 times. I would think that it would be less taxing to just do it all at once.
Okay. Okay, so I can try that. So, but if you want to ask your architecture team,
Yeah.
should I raise a ticket or you would do
I'll
just
I'll email
okay?
you. I have
Okay,
your
great.
email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you. You guys have been helpful for
Yeah.
a lot of things. Thank you. Sure, that'll
Yeah.
be great. Yeah, that was the S3 question. And did I ask something else? I forgot what I asked. Sorry.
Scheduled flows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
I would think that if it hitting 3 steps with a list that has 15 items in it, to
Mm-hmm.
me seems less taxing than hitting 10 steps 15 times with less
Okay.
file size.
Okay.
But again, that's kind of just outside of the scope of something I would know off the top of my head.
Okay. And since you got this fetch entities, right? So
Mhm.
what does this actually do? So if I have an S3 file, is it going to hold it temporarily in that? And based on if I get a file, it just goes into the next part of the flow, or what
Mhm.
is it, like that kind of a decider?
Yeah, I can show you. So, yeah, maybe this is I might be looking at this too simply here. But what fetch entities is going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pick a structure that I know exists. I just don't know
Okay.
where your S3 files are stored, and I don't have any S3 files, so it's not going to be a good example, just because
No
I'm not super
worries.
familiar with that.
Any file folder should
Oh,
work.
files. Okay,
Yeah.
let's think here. All right, we'll do doc. You meant I don't know how many I have on here. Um, okay. So there are built-in decisions tables. So
Mhm.
document is one of them. If I go back over here and I just show you a quick report, report, create report. There's a number of decisions tables like document, file, service, I believe is called document, entity name, right? So this is just all the documents that's stored on this decisions instance. It's just a bunch of preview
Mhm.
images, basically. I don't have
Mhm.
a lot of stuff on here, but again, you can kind of change this to whatever. Let's say, I think, uh, is it file data maybe? No. Greg, do you know where file data?
Mm,
Maybe you
So I
guys,
wasn't paying
no,
attention very
that's
well.
all good. Is
Yeah.
there a structure or source that holds file data?
Data source with file data. I mean, I don't know about the
Document.
structure that we already have, but just the file type, file data.
File
I'll
data is a type. It's not a
try
structure.
to put it in and
Yeah.
see.
We'll just say document for now, just so I can show you how this thing works. I think I'm getting too far off but if you'll notice on here, when I add this entity name, there's like X amount of entities, um,
Mhm.
all of these preview images.
Okay.
Now, if I go over here and I go, okay, I'm going to use fetch entities and I'm fetching document. I'm adding no criteria. I could
Mhm.
add criteria. I could say, hey, I only want to fetch documents that were created on a certain date, or the entity name equals a certain thing, or the entity name doesn't equal,
Mhm.
however, whatever logic you want in here. I'm just going to kind of remove that, but you could parse it out here with fetch criteria.
Mhm.
Once I add one of these parameters like entity name, it will show up as an input down here. And I could specify like, hey, I only want to find documents that have the entity name of preview image or whatever,
Mhm.
with a constant, but I'm not going to do that for now. But you could parse it that way out. And so for now, I'm just going to fetch all entities that say document.
Mhm.
When I run this, the outputs is going to show me all of those, and that document is a structure in itself or a source. It has all this
Mhm.
information kind of associated with it.
From this, how can I get the first one? I mean, it's even for us, it's going to give 10 things, right? If I'm not
Yeah,
going through the loop, it doesn't matter which one it gives me. How can I just always say, give me the top one?
limit results 1,
Oh, okay.
and then let's check it. Yep, just 1.
Perfect. Wait,
You
this
could
is very
also on the
Mhm.
next step. So let's
Mhm.
say hypothetically you want it all. Oh, we don't want 0. We definitely don't want that. Let's say we on our next step we want to use that data for some reason.
Mhm.
Create data. Oh, wrong path. Dang it. Wrong path. Cool. You could also go, okay, for some reason, whatever. Whatever, this step is a placeholder. This could be anything.
Okay.
But for most of these, you should
Mhm.
be able to go entity results and then go down to the bottom and hit just the first.
Okay.
So it's 2 options. You can either only output the first document, or you can, from entity results, go first.
Okay.
And that should do the same. It's just 2 different ways to approach the same problem.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. This is very helpful.
No,
I'll
I
try this
appreciate
out.
it.
Thank you.
Smita,
Yeah.
Smita, for S3, I don't know why decisions doesn't have that list everything in the bucket, but
Oh, it doesn't?
it does not, as far as I
Oh,
know. But it's if you use AWS SDK and Decisions SDK, it's like 5 lines of code. So I would go that route.
oh, sorry. I didn't get you. Could you please repeat it?
If you use AWS SDK,
Uh-huh.
which library is included in Decisions already,
Mm-hmm.
and if you use Decisions SDK, it's going to be like 5 lines of code. It's not
Uh,
hard to do.
oh, okay.
I just
Okay.
sent the acronym out to you in the chat, AWS SDK.
Okay.
But
So
again,
that's what I need to use.
like I said, I'm not super familiar with S3. Maybe he has some more
Okay.
insight
Yeah,
on
I've
it.
done a lot of SDKs, so if you need my assistant, I can email you. It's
Okay.
like literally it's like 5 lines of code, and it's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
create a custom step in Decisions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll be great if you can.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it a session. I appreciate both you guys. Thank you both. The questions were great, and I've enjoyed this one. This was a fun one. Keep in mind, we're not going to have lunch and learns the next 2 days. We just have them lined up as holidays within the company for 4th of July and then the day after. But I will see you guys next week. So thank you again for stopping by. If you have any
Thank you.
questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Bye.